Y'all today my really good cornbread recipe. It comes from a mix, but is really good stuff.
Mix somewhat. Use this Martha White's yellow cornmeal mix. It's what I use. You could use another mix, I'm sure. First, you start out with a cast iron skillet. I take a little peanut oil, actually, and I just rub all around it like that, just to get the lubrication on there. I'm going to put my oven on 450, and while the oven's preheating, I'm going to put this cast iron skillet preheating to 450 there in the oven. I'm going to go ahead and put the mix together. Got, I think it's 1.5 cups, of the Martha White cornbread mix, and then 1 cup of self-rising flour. Now that's true with the recipe on the bag. Now I've got a 1/4 cup of sugar. That stays with the recipe too. Then here's where we stray. I've got buttermilk, 1.5 cups of buttermilk. It calls for just a cup of regular milk. I use buttermilk. I start out with 1.5 cups. Then I've got 2 eggs, a can of diced chilies. It's optional. And 1 stick of melted butter. Now the recipe calls for some oil. I use 1 stick melted butter. We'll mix all this together, and if you'll see consistency there, it's a little bit thicker than I want. So I'm going to add some more buttermilk, about 4 ounces at a time. So let me get a 4 ounce thing ready. I'm going to add about 4 ounces of buttermilk and mix this in. Adding that other, basically 1/2 cup of buttermilk. It's a little bit thin. So I'm going to add 1/4 cup more of the cornbread mix. Just to get, each time, sometimes it turns out just right with those measurements. So right now we're at, let's see, 1 3/4 cup cornmeal mix, 1 cup of flour, and 2 cups of buttermilk, I believe. So we'll mix this in. I think this will just how we like it, just like that, so you can barely pour it. I'm going to set this aside for a minute while the oven finishes preheating. And my pan's preheated. I'm going to wipe this excess oil out of the pan. I'm going to pour our mix right into the pan. Now I've got one of these little divider things that I sprayed down with Pam. I like to use that. You definitely don't have to use that. Put that in. I'm going to pop it in the oven on 450 for about 23. Perfect. After about 24-25 minutes, look at that nice golden brown cornbread. You can't beat that. I'm telling y'all try this modified Martha White recipe, and it's the best cornbread you ever had. I mean, it's about as good as Grandma's.